All right, so our next page of notes is writing linear equations. But didn't we already do that? Well, yes, we did, given the slope and the y-intercept, and then also given standard form. But now, if you notice on this page, we are only given our graphs. Okay? So, given a graph, we are going to write our slope-intercept equation. All right, so we need to identify the slope and the y-intercept. And then we're going to write it in our slope-intercept form, which we all know by now, y equals mx plus b. Okay? So we need to identify our slope and our y-intercept. But how do I identify our y-intercept? Our y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. And our slope is our rise over our run. Remember the triangle thing? Okay. So let's do our first example. So it gives me these 2 points here and here. So remember, we are going to do our triangle. And so if you notice, I'm going up 1, 2, 3, and over 1. So our slope is 3 over 1, which is just going to equal 3. All right, and then our y-intercept, well, that's where it crosses the y-axis, which is this axis here. So you are just going to scan your y-axis until you see a point, which it is right here. Okay? And where is that point? -1, -2, -3. So our y-intercept is -3. And hey, now this becomes exactly what we did yesterday. We're given our slope and we're given our y-intercept. So y equals 3x minus 3. Okay? All right, let's try the next one. So we are given this point here and this point here. We need to create our triangle. If you notice, this time our slope is negative. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, and over 2, to the right 2, excuse me. So this would be -3 over 2. And then our y-intercept, where it crosses this line. So where does it cross this line? Good. Hopefully you said at +2. So then our equation will be y equals -3 over 2 x plus 2. Okay, one more. And then you guys will do the rest, okay? Alrighty. So we have a point here and a point here. Our slope is positive, so I'm going to go up and to the right. So I'm going up 2. And if you notice, this time it doesn't give us our m and our b, so we can just write it off to the side. So I'm going to go up 2 and then to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then that's going to be my slope. And then my y-intercept is going to be where it crosses this line here, okay, which is +2. And now we can write our equation. Y equals mx plus b, so y equals 2 over 5x plus 2. Okay? All right, you guys try the next 3. Good luck, guys. And I also want you to do the ones on the back. So pause your video here so that you guys can do 4 through 12. Okay? and I will come around and check your answers. Please don't raise your hand to ask me to come check your answers. I will just walk by. If I don't say anything, assume you've got it right, okay? Alrighty. And now that you are pausing your video, I am going to go to 13 and 14. Okay, so I am going to do 13. I want you guys to do 14. Okay, so for 13, which graph represents the line y equals 1/3 x minus 2? So the first thing we need to do is find our y-intercept. Okay, so if our y-intercept is -2, where's it going to cross on the graph? Is it going to cross up here or down here? Right, it's going to cross down here. So here, it crosses at y equals +2. But this is a -2, so we know it can't be A. All right, this one crosses at y equals -2, so good, that's a possible answer. This one crosses at y equals +2, so we don't like that one. And this one crosses at y equals -2. So it is either going to be C or D. All right, next we're going to check out our slope. So you are going to pick pretty points on your graph, okay? And what I mean by pretty points is where it crosses one, like let's look at A, let's find a pretty point for A, is where it crosses in the middle of the 4 boxes absolutely perfectly. Like these 2 blue points are pretty points. Do you see that? Okay, and then B has a pretty point here, and the green one was a pretty point, and here. And then I guess up there would also be a pretty point. So those are pretty points. So let's check out C and find a pretty point. And we just need one pretty point. Okay, so not really. Here's a good pretty point. Okay? You guys see why it's a pretty point? Alrighty. So now we can do our triangle thing. Okay? So this tells me up 1, 2, 3. And to the right, 1. But remember, this is rise over run, so this is 3/1, which is going to equal 3. So that's not it. Okay? So now let's make absolutely certain that it's going to be D. So find a pretty point. You always want to double check, even if you've crossed all the other ones out, check to make sure, because you might have done something wrong, especially on the milestone. You always want to triple check. Okay. So our pretty point is right here. So we are going to go up 1 and then over 3. And since it's rise over run, m equals 1/3, and so that's our answer. And that's how you solve when you are given your equation and asked to find which graph it is. Okay? So now you guys have the easier one. Which best represents the equation of the line? Well, you guys were just writing all of your equations for, what was it, 1 through 12. So just write your equation and see which one matches. So you need to find your you need to find your y-intercept. And then you need to find your slope. Okay? All right, good luck, guys. Finish up.